All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Gina Jones. I'm the coordinator for the virtual high school with Prince William County Schools. Thank you for joining us. We are going to spend time this session talking about online learning, mostly online learning in Prince William County, but we're also going to touch on the nationwide growth and online learning in the state. So our virtual high school has actually been around, we're in our 16th year, and we were one of the first in the state to develop an online program. We started in 2001, and we've really been considered a pioneer in helping other divisions. We help other divisions in Virginia as well as nationwide in creating their online programs. Because we kind of nickname ourselves DIY High, we create most of our own content. We've created our own courses, which is challenging and takes a lot of time, but is well worth it because Prince William County Schools then owns the content. We work very closely with curriculum supervisors to make sure our courses are fully aligned to Prince William County Schools content. So if your child takes a virtual high school course, you can rest assured that they are getting all of the curriculum and content and instructional strategies that a child would get in a traditional classroom. Many of you parents are probably familiar with online learning. I know when we started, it was a little more of a challenge to talk to students and parents about this because folks were a little scared of it. You know, it's not comparable. How can a child learn this way? But you've probably experienced it maybe as a student yourself or in the workforce. And we've grown quite a bit, even in the state of Virginia. In 2007-08, Virtual Virginia was created, which is our statewide virtual program. And they were created mostly to help students in rural school divisions that didn't have AP courses. So they may have 3 students who want to take AP chemistry, and there wasn't enough to fund a full class for that. And so they started offering AP courses online to Virginia students. Some Prince William County students do use Virtual Virginia also for AP courses if they have a scheduling conflict or there's a reason they need to take the course outside the school. Something important for parents to understand is the Early College Scholar Program or ECS program. And if your child is getting an advanced diploma, they basically sign a piece of paper saying that they intend to pursue an advanced diploma and they can get these courses for free as an early college scholar. So when we first started, we had a couple of AP courses and we stopped offering them when the state started doing this because this is a great resource if your child wants to do an AP course online. They don't do AP courses in the summer. I do get that question sometimes because there's just not enough time for them to fulfill the content and because the exam is only given in May nationwide and they would lose a lot of that content between the summer and May. There's also something called multi-division online providers on the DOE website, and basically these are mostly vendors. You may have heard of K-12 or some other for-profit online programs. And basically they have applied to the state to partner with school divisions to offer online courses. And again, this is mostly for school divisions who don't have their own internal programs. So in Prince William County Schools, your counselors, your curriculum supervisors are going to direct you to us. If we can meet your need, then that's fantastic. If not, they might be a secondary resource and they'll go through a vetting process to make sure that that course aligns with our content and that we're able to award the credit for it. But just so you know that that's out there. Yes, sir?
What's the advanced degree?
An advanced diploma? Yeah, so students have a choice between a standard diploma and an advanced diploma, and the differences are on the website. If you want to look at the additional courses, they have to take an additional language and more math. So there's also a graduation requirement. The state of Virginia is one of a handful of states across the country that now say your child should take a virtual class in order to graduate with a Prince William County Schools diploma. And what this means, this starts with 9th grade students in the 2013-14 school year and beyond. And what this means is the students will be experiencing some form of online learning in their high school experience, which is fantastic because they're going to encounter it in college and in the workforce and in the military. That does not mean your child has to sign up for a virtual high school course. Of course, we would love that because then they're getting the full online learning experience because I really believe the spirit of that legislation was intended to have the child fully experience online learning and all of the communication and preparation and time management that goes along with that. That said, if they don't take a virtual high school course, this virtual learning experience doesn't have to be credit bearing and it's automatically built into their economics and personal finance course. So there is a virtual module in the economics and personal finance course that every child has to take in high school where they will experience virtual learning. So you don't have to worry about that. The schools have it covered, but taking the full virtual high school course is a better experience if you want them to really have an online course. Okay, so nationwide, the latest statistics say that 5 million K-12 students have taken an online course, so it's really grown tremendously, especially in the last 5 years. And around 300,000 are full-time online students. And that's actually growing a lot at the elementary level, which is interesting. So we have our own virtual high school in Prince William County Schools. This is for students in high school, some middle school students, and I'll speak to that in a moment. Do we have any parents of rising freshmen in here? 1, 2, okay, great. So we'll talk about what your options are as well. This is just a quick little promo video that we recently recorded about why take a virtual high school course.
Why take a virtual high school class? Over 15,000 students have taken online courses with a virtual high school at PWCS. Here are a few reasons why students choose to take an online class with our award-winning program.
For flexibility in my schedule to take other classes at school.
It allows me time for a job.
I can work at my own pace and finish a full credit in a semester.
I can retake a class to improve my grade.
I can graduate early.
It prepares me for online classes in college, and the classes are NCAA approved.
Take a virtual high school class for your own reasons. Choose your path. Registration for the spring 2017 session is now open and classes start February 1st. Go to virtualhs.pwcs.edu for more information and to register today.
Okay, so as he said, we're getting ready to start our spring session. We're wrapping up our fall session. We have had over 15,000 students earn credit with our program. It's been very successful. We have about 1,800 students per year, and we have 3 sessions. So our sessions are semester-length sessions. We are a supplemental program, and we were created to help kids with scheduling flexibility. I would say definitely the average student who takes a virtual high school course is taking it as an 8th or 9th course. They're not taking it to replace a course in their regular school day. They're supplementing their schedule because they want flexibility. They want to be in the IT program and stay in marching band. Okay, that's the typical student. Of course, we have other students who have moved in from other school divisions, and having the semester schedule and earning the full credit in a semester is very beneficial to them. We have students maybe who realize this time of year, I'm not doing well in a class. I need to drop that class in regular school and take it online and redo it so that I can earn that credit. So they take it for a variety of reasons. In the fall, we have the lower enrollment. In spring, we usually have about 300, and in summer, it explodes. We are actually the largest high school summer program now. We have been for a couple of years. We had almost 1,200 students last summer take classes with us in virtual high school. We are mostly online, but we are also considered blended because the kids come in for a face-to-face orientation, and that's on the session schedule. It is not mandatory, but it's highly recommended that they come to that. And then they also come in for their exams, which I'll talk more about in just a few moments. So again, we have a fall session, a spring session, and a summer session. Okay, one of the questions I get quite often are, how are the courses created and who's teaching them? So again, our courses are created in-house for the most part and are taught by either current Prince William County Schools teachers or former Prince William County Schools teachers who are now teaching only in virtual school. They contain the same content as a traditional course. They are housed in our learning management system. Some of you parents may be familiar with Blackboard or Moodle or Angel. These are all LMSs. Ours is called Desire to Learn, also known as D2L or Brightspace. We love this learning management system. It's very robust, lots of different points of interaction. We have no textbooks. Everything is online. Okay. When we first started virtual high school, we were passing out textbooks, and we were frantically, well, there was no precedent for it, right? We were scanning in worksheets and doing cutting-edge PowerPoints and, trying to do what we could do. And now we've learned you don't need a textbook in online learning. The content is all digital. It's curated and packaged so that they can be mobile with it. The students also have internal email accounts. We keep everything inside our learning management system, so we can see every point of contact, every piece of communication. It's very much a fishbowl, unlike a regular classroom, so we can look back and gather that data to help the student and teacher be successful. There are 3 main points of interaction that students are going to experience. They're going to interact with the content. They're going to interact with their peers. We don't leave this part out. A lot of kids think that they're going to be isolated taking a virtual course, but with us that's not the case. We have discussion boards that are a big part of their grade, and we know that teenagers and even us as adults, to learn something, you kind of need to negotiate your understanding of it with your peers. So they are in there discussing and applying real-world application and posting videos and things like that to communicate with their peers and collaborate and synthesize that content. We also have audio and video note applications, which are very helpful, and I'll show you some examples of those. And students do have to have daily access. So if you're considering taking a virtual high school course, it is important that you have a reliable computer. We have mobile access, but don't depend on mobile, because a lot of the content will only work on a PC or Mac. So they do need to have reliable daily access to their course. Okay, so course design, I'll speak briefly to this. Again, some of the vendor companies, you may have seen their commercials or experienced their courses. They're kinds of lots of bells and whistles and avatars and games. And the technology is at the center of a lot of those courses. We try to keep the student at the center, because what we found is, students have a wide variety of access and types of computers at home. And if we do too many innovative things, the students tend to spend more time troubleshooting the technology than learning the content, and we don't want that. That increases their frustration. So we center the content around the student. We try to make it as consumable as possible. We try to address a variety of learning styles. Obviously, if your child's an auditory or visual learner, this is great for them. Other learning styles, we also try to accommodate the best we can with virtual learning. The teacher and the content are directly surrounding this. The teacher is an integral part of these courses. They are not just grading work, and we'll talk more about that. Parents, we see you as a partner in virtual learning. The base school is definitely a partner. I'll speak more to that in a moment. And then the outer band is the technology and the LMS. So we try to keep that line very short between innovation and student success. We are a national award-winning program. We're very proud of this for the way we design and create and curate our content. Again, other divisions do try to learn from that. We do have NCAA approval. This is important. If any of your children are college-bound student athletes, it's actually quite a rigorous process for a non-traditional online program to get NCAA approval. And these are basically the synopsis of the rules. The instructor has to be highly qualified. We're not just pulling somebody out of the library to sort of oversee and make sure your kid shows up and can log in. We have an actual chemistry teacher teaching chemistry. There has to be frequent student-teacher communication, and there is, lots of points of contact. The assignments and assessments are graded by the instructor. Our instructors are required to give feedback to your students, written, audio, video. And of course, the design of the curriculum. I get the question a lot, can't they just test out of something? If they already know this, can't they just take the test and move on like you see in some of the credit recovery classes? Not if you want a full credit NCAA approved course. The students need to move through the course as a cohort. There is flexibility in that, and I'm going to explain how that works. But for the most part, they're meeting defined benchmarks. They're taking their midterm at the same time. They're taking their final at the same time to complete the course. Another important thing to recognize is, although we're called virtual high school, we're not technically a school. We are a program inside Prince William County Schools. We're not a separate institution. So we work hand in hand with base schools. When your child registers for a course, you're going to have them talk to their counselor. We're going to let the counselor know their information is getting put onto their schedule in the student management system. The grades are going into that system to be put on their transcript. It's still on their Prince William County Schools transcript. It does show as an online course, which when we started this, we would get questions, well, what do colleges think of that? Is that going to be a bad thing? Well, no. Higher ed led the way for online learning. They are the true pioneers of this. They love seeing that, because what that shows is that your child's motivated. They have good time management skills. They've learned 21st century skills, so that's a good thing. So the transcript comes from your school, your diploma comes from your school, okay? All right, I'm just going to go over the basics. We have accelerated pacing because we're a semester format. We're still covering all the content, but we're honing in on the most important parts of that curriculum. There's no group projects, there's no busy work. They're not just trying to fill some seat time. We are actually just focused on the key concepts. So it's 6 weeks in the summer. Okay, 17 weeks in the fall and spring. I always try to emphasize that online courses are not shorter or easier than a traditional course. They are simply more flexible. A lot of times students will enroll in these and think, oh, that's going to be easy. I can just kind of log in whenever I want, turn in my work whenever I want, and that is definitely not the case. About 4 to 6 hours a day in the summer. Again, kids love virtual learning in the summer because they can travel. They can go live with a different parent in a different state if they need to and still take their Prince William County Schools course. They can go on vacation. But they are still spending that amount of time. The same amount of time that they would spend in a traditional summer school class is going to be spent in a virtual school class, on average. Depends on your kid, depends on the class, it depends on the day, right? The good thing about this is they don't have to be in a desk at 7 a.m. at a school. They can do this whatever time of the day feels more comfortable to them. They can break it up. They can work an hour in the morning, a couple in the afternoon, some more in the evening. They can work ahead on the weekends. If they want to take a day off, that's fine. They want to complete their Monday work on Saturday, that's fine. It's about 5 to 7 hours per week in the spring and fall, so it's more spread out. Okay, some students do take 2 courses. We recommend 1 course if your child is taking a full load in regular school. If they take 2 courses, it's double the time. We do have students who do it and are successful doing it. They need to have a reason and they need to get their counselor's approval to do that, but it is doable. All right, checklist. So when your child logs into a virtual high school course, and I'm going to show you an example of this in a few minutes, they have the full checklist right there for them. They know everything that's due and when it's due, which is fantastic. They can start managing their time. They need to take the time and read carefully. I find that just as a society as a whole, and I'm as guilty as everyone else, we tend to scan for the link now, right? You open up a web page and you don't read all the surrounding stuff. You scan for the link, get me to the registration page, get me to where I need to be so I can move on. In virtual learning, it's important for our students to understand that they have to take the time to read for context. That's their textbook, right? That's their content. And so they do have to take the time. The good thing is a lot of kids will take the time to read it and then read it again, right? They don't have to worry about a bell ringing. They don't have to worry about hands shooting up to answer the question before they've digested the material to try and answer the question. You really can't hide in a virtual classroom. That's another myth that I find a lot, because it's very personalized. It's very one-on-one. The teacher is communicating directly with your student every day, and the student has to show up and do their own work every day. They can't just hide in the back of the classroom because somebody else is going to raise their hand every time and answer that question. They have to answer the question. So it's important that they know when their teacher's office hours are, that they reach out to their teacher and ask questions during those office hours. And I'll explain how that works a little bit more in a few minutes. Okay, so we do still have midterms in virtual school, because another question I get a lot is, how do you know the kid is doing the work? How do you know it's them and not the parent or not a friend or they're not cheating? And unfortunately, cheating does happen in every school environment, but the way that we help prevent cheating in virtual high school is this child has to show up in person with a photo ID to take their midterm and their final exam with their teacher. They also have, we work with our teachers to design assignments that are authentic, that are real-world applications, so that they can't just be passed down from session to session, from kid to kid. They're not the worksheet format, right? And so we do a lot of reflection pieces. We do audio and video with the kids, and so they are showing us they understand and can master the content in a variety of ways. The students also take an SOL exam if they need it, if they haven't already passed it, and they can get a final exam exemption if they pass the SOL exam during their virtual high school course. We do also offer external proctors. This is popular in the summer if you're traveling. We've had kids take our exams in other countries, on cruise ships, you name it. As long as you get that proctor approved in advance and they are either a tutoring service, a school, a librarian, someone unknown to the child, and we can verify it in advance, we'll give them the password and the instructions, and your child can take the exam with them. So we try to balance flexibility with accountability, basically, with the exams. We do offer a withdrawal period. Some students get in this and find that it's just not for them. So in the fall and spring, there's a 2-week drop refund period where you can actually get the tuition refunded. In the summer, there's no tuition refunds because it moves so quickly. In the summer, you're through the first marking period in 7 days, so we can't really offer that. But if you withdraw before midterms, it will not impact your child's GPA. It will simply show as a withdrawal on the transcript. Students with IEPs. Another myth about virtual learning is you have to be a straight A student, you have to be an academic high flyer to be good at this. No, not necessarily. We've had tremendous success with students, for example, with ADHD, because they're in their own secure environment, distraction-free, hopefully. They can take as much time as they want. They don't have to sit as long. They can take breaks and come back to it. Students with IEPs, especially students who need time accommodations, things written out for them, this is fantastic because it's built in. They can do it whenever they want, and it's there. They can access it as much as they want. They can speak individually and privately with their teacher whenever they want. And we just need to know that they have an IEP, obviously, because when The teachers doing their grading, they need to meet those accommodations, and when they come in for their midterm and final and SOL, we need to be able to meet those accommodations. So it is important if your child has an IEP that we are aware of that and have a copy of it. Okay, so here's an example of that checklist that I mentioned. Again, the kids go through and can check off the items as they complete them. They can work at their own pace from any location with internet access, as long as they meet their daily deadlines. So in summer, something's going to be due every day. Actually, a few things are going to be due every day, right? In fall and spring, a typical schedule is going to be Tuesday, Thursday by midnight. You're going to have these assignments or these quizzes or tests that are due. The student can work whenever they want to make sure they get those in by midnight. Okay? Again, the time frame is going to be about 5 to 7 hours per week in fall and spring, and about 4 to 6 hours per day in summer. Okay, here's some examples of how students learn in virtual high school. Some of the tools and resources that we've built into the system to help engage them. There's lots of multimedia. We do have parent auditor accounts, which I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. They are using tools they know and enjoy, which is really important. We have live lessons and mobile access and so forth. So there's some of the examples. Don't depend on mobile access. The student does need a PC or Mac to complete the course, but they can access the live lessons via the mobile app. Okay, what type of student is most successful? Again, they need to have a sense of how they learn, and we help them with this in orientation. We have some program orientation lessons that help them think about what their learning style is and what strategies they're going to use to be a good online learner. They need to be self-motivated, okay? They need to have good time management skills. Parents, this is where you come in a lot, right? What I recommend is they look at their teacher's office hours and they set their schedule around their teacher's office hours. If their teachers are online Monday nights and Thursday nights and Sunday evenings, then that's when they should probably set their time to work, because that's when they can get synchronous real-time assistance from their teacher. Okay? They need to know how to collaborate and communicate online. Kids know how to do this, right? The challenge we face is here. Your teacher's not your Facebook friend or your Twitter follower. You need to speak in complete sentences or type in complete sentences, and give the teachers enough information and understand that this is school and this is your teacher. We do run into that a little bit, but for the most part, kids are comfortable with this, right? In fact, what we have found is students who may not participate much in a regular classroom really shine in these online classrooms, because again, they can take their time to read that discussion post, they can take their time to formulate a thoughtful response, and they feel a little more empowered to share online because they're actually more comfortable with this than some of us adults are. The kid does need to be proactive. They're not a captive audience like I have you. I can see if you're bored, if you look like I've got it, move on. If you have a question, the teachers can't see them. Sometimes kids get the Wizard of Oz effect, I call it. The teacher's the man behind the curtain. I don't want to bother them. Do they really care about me? Are they really there? Some kids sit and think they're always there, right? No matter when I email my teacher, they're going to email me right back. So we kind of have to train them. It takes a couple of weeks for kids to get used to this kind of learning and get used to the pacing and the schedule and when their teacher's going to be online. So typically that's the type of student that is most successful. And we do have very high pass rates in our courses in both the course and on the SOL, especially in the summer. Okay, so who will be my teacher? Again, it's going to be a highly qualified teacher in Prince William County. We do a lot of professional development. Even to become a virtual teacher, they have to go through a 7-week methodology course, because it is different than teaching in a classroom. Engaging and motivating kids online takes a special skill set. And interacting with them and grading their work and giving them multiple opportunities in a variety of ways and things like that. So this is all the things that the teachers are doing to help your student be successful. Again, here are some of the tools and resources from the teacher's perspective. We have subscription resources such as NBC Learn, where they'll pop an item up that's a current event in a discussion board or a news item and ask students to react to it. We have learning time versus seat time. Some of you may have, if you're in education, heard of seat time. It's policy in the way they measure, like students have to have so many clock hours of seat time. And I was at a conference at DOE once and heard Land Nugent say, you're measuring the wrong end of the kid, because the kid can come to school and sit in a seat, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they're learning. So in virtual learning, we had to get a waiver from seat time and say, we're gonna measure learning time. And we collect lots of data in virtual school. We can see when they logged on, how long they spent on a particular topic, even what IP address they logged in from, if you needed to know that. And sort of help measure from that data dashboard how well they're doing and where they might need support in learning. So I'm going to talk a little bit about live lessons. This is an important part of virtual school. We are not a sit and get program. I can't emphasize that enough. Our teachers are not just pushing this material out to your kids and saying, email me if you have a problem. This is an example of a page of live lessons from our biology teacher. You'll see Ms. Johnson has a virtual office where kids can make appointments to meet with her. This is sort of almost like Skype, where they can go in and talk in real time. She has live lessons. These are going to be typically at the same time on the same day every week. In summer, they're every day. They're about 15 to 20 minutes, and what they're doing is they're taking the most difficult concept of that day or that week and explaining it in a live lesson. So the kids can get in there and they can ask questions by chat, they can ask questions by headset, which is recommended, or at least a speaker and mic, and they can interact with their teacher. They use this live lesson time also for exam review. Got a big exam coming up? Let's go in there and play a game. Let's do a Kahoot, a Jeopardy, a Socrative, and help you prepare for your exam. The good thing about these also is if the child cannot attend, they are recorded and archived, and that's what this is. So the kid can go in there and click on it and listen to it play back.
Do they have access to archived versions of it? Like, let's say cell membrane right there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a question that was asked, for example, that my son didn't understand the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another way to get last course's cell membrane live lessons?
No, they're only archived within each session, but your child would just email the teacher,
yeah.
right? And even when the teachers don't have office hours, they're going to get back to the child within a day. It's never going to be sort of a situation where the kid's really waiting and waiting and waiting, okay? Okay, so this is an example of feedback, what a Dropbox page looks like. We have something called Digital Dropbox. It's similar to a child turning in work in a Dropbox in a classroom. So a child turned in a lab equipment document. It was turned in on February 4th. The teacher published feedback, you can see there, on February 9th. If you look down here, another assignment, we can see that the child actually read the feedback within 30 minutes, which is pretty impressive. The teacher can see that the child read the feedback, which is important because maybe the teacher is saying, redo this, or you sent me the wrong document, you uploaded the wrong file. If you just go back and fix these two things, I can give you more credit for this. The teachers do have late policies. They're flexible, but we have to keep them moving forward, right? So this is an important tool, again, for that data to help students be successful. And now we have audio and video feedback, which is really neat. So I just want to show this visual again because I can't emphasize enough how important it is for the kids to remember your teacher can't see you for visual cues. We do rely on the kids to reach out, and the teachers will reach out as well, but the kids have to be logging in and checking for that communication, and that takes some getting used to. Okay, parent auditors. So during the second week of the session, the first week the teacher's helping your kid get acclimated, right? The second week you're going to get your own individual login and password. You can go in and on the home screen you're going to see a little widget, which is what we call these boxes, that says Parent Auditor Access. When you click on that, you're going to see your child's name, their class. You can see every time they logged in, you can see every one of their grades, you can see all of their teacher feedback, you can see every discussion post they made, not the other students, but your child. You can see the content, you can see the checklist. Basically, you're auditing the course, you can follow along with them. We are not connected to Parent Portal because we do everything in our LMS, and I apologize for that because I know, I'm a parent of 3 Prince William County Schools kids, and I know how nice it is to go single sign-on. But this is more empowering in a way because you do get to see everything. If you really want to help your child or even just check up on your child, you really can use this tool to do that. If you have 2 children in virtual high school, they will both be linked in the same place so that you can check on them both. So that's helpful. And we do have more and more kids taking 2 courses or 3 courses, and all the courses will be in the same place. Big question in summer. I have to tell you, I'm shocked every year. I've been doing this 16 years. The places kids go in summer. We've got kids on actual sailboats in the Caribbean. They're going to various countries. And that's fine. That's the beauty of online learning, right? If you're going on vacation or going to camp, that's fine. Just make sure you have access. Boy Scouts can struggle sometimes because they tend to want to go out in the woods and not have that Wi-Fi. And they think, oh, if I miss a week, I can just come back and make it up, right? No, in summer, you miss a week, you missed a whole marking period. And the class isn't waiting for you to come back and make that work up because then you're working 20 hours a day, right? So you do have to have daily access. You can work ahead. So if you're just going to be gone a couple of days and not have access, that's fine, work ahead. But a full week is not doable. Again, you can use those external proctors. We've had exams proctored on cruise ships, different countries. It has to be, someone who's verifiable. Okay, student handbook. Again, we get lots of questions about security, and sometimes we get kids who enroll in online classes and then just stop working. They don't ever bother to withdraw. We call them stop-outs instead of drop-outs. So we do withdraw students for lack of progress. They have to be making adequate weekly progress in their course. It's certainly not a situation where a kid can wait until the end of the course and turn in all their work. We have marking periods, and that's to keep the kids on track. If we didn't have those, they would just sort of procrastinate and turn it all in at the end, and we can't do that. So we do measure their progress. Even in summer, we have defined marking periods. Our grading system is the same as Prince William County Schools. So the exams are weighted the same, the overall grading scale is the same. And if a child violates the honor code, the teachers are just really well versed in this. They've been doing it a long time. They'll run it through a Google search or turn it in, and they can see if a child has plagiarized or copied from another student. And so we really teach them digital literacy skills as well, because they're going out on the internet and finding information, and we understand that. They have to be able to understand how to synthesize it and put it in their own words. So we do strictly enforce that just for the integrity of our program. And you would definitely be in the communication loop if that were to happen. Okay, so this is our website where the kids go to look at the courses, and I'm actually going to just pull that up and show it to you. So we do have 2 orientations for the children also on that last screen where they can become oriented to the program before they start working. Technical troubleshooting, I'm not going to go through all this. I'll just say that in online learning, my internet wasn't working is the equivalent of the dog ate my homework. Okay, so you have to think right now, if you want to sign your child up for a virtual class, do you have a backup plan for your internet? Now that we have mobile, it's a lot easier, but a neighbor, a friend, don't let your child wait until 11 p.m. if it's due at midnight, right, that kind of thing. But technical troubleshooting, we do help them with. And typically it's a pop-up blocker or something simple. Our technology is not that difficult, and we give you a system check in the beginning to make sure you're using the right browser and you have all the configurations that you need. Okay. Really quickly, I'm going to show you a video of some students speaking to the challenges and benefits of virtual high school, and then we'll take questions.
I'm taking online courses because it's much more convenient with my schedule.
I'm graduating at the end of my junior year, and this helps me get more credits.
It gives me time off to go home, get ready for football practice and lacrosse practice, actually.
And I get to work at my own pace.
My work schedule plus my school schedule didn't allow me to have enough time to do everything that I wanted to do. The VHS course allowed me to do the work on my own time.
The big challenge was the procrastination at the beginning, because you think, oh, it's going to be pretty easy, but it took a class.
I'm not going to lie, it's challenging because it's schoolwork.
It's not just an easy class, it's just the same amount of work as a normal class.
You have to do it a full year in a semester, so you need to make sure you plan your time out right.
You have to really organize yourself and make sure you set a time frame for that class and have a schedule set out for the week. With a checklist, it gives you the whole entire semester so you can see everything you need to do. If you know you're going to have a busy week, you can work ahead.
It's very flexible, so I can get on whenever I want.
I could take the quizzes more than once.
You don't have to get it done a certain amount of time, like in a classroom or something like that. You can take your time. There's no one rushing you. It's all about you.
I get to finish in one semester, so that's always good.
It also helps you really organize your time and be more mature.
It's on me to check the virtual high school page, to check my homework and things like that, so it's really good for preparing for college.
I mean, it might seem that there's not enough work because you're doing it in a faster amount of time, but I just took that midterm and I just realized how much I actually learned.
I feel like I'm actually learning more than what they're learning in a classroom, because I'm doing the little stuff each day and they're doing it every other day, so you get more and more in.
I've been talking to other students about the same curriculum and they pretty much know the same amount, if less, than what I do.
The 2 teachers I've had have been tremendous about feedback and always getting back to me whenever I have questions. They answer all your questions right away.
You talk to them just as much, if not more, because you usually go on that every day versus every other day.
Every time my teacher grades my assignments on VHS, he gives a lot of feedback.
I mean, you get to know the person that you're interacting with online. It's kind of like a social network, but with school.
I definitely have recommended. I gave them the advice, always keep a set schedule.
My advice is to don't procrastinate. Don't do it.
I wouldn't recommend this course to anyone who has trouble remembering deadlines.
Online learning for students, it can be a challenge. Students have to be self-motivated, but it's also the place where, with a teacher's guidance, you can learn to be a self-directed learner, because we are with you, every step of the way.
flexibility,
anywhere, anytime access.
Motivation.
Choice.
My path and my future.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to quickly show you our website, and then we will spend a few minutes on questions. If you're interested in learning more about virtual high school, we are in the Select a School menu under High Schools, right there, below the Governor's School. And when you go onto our page, these are the main navigation bars. I know everyone's getting used to the new website. Our list of courses, we focus on core content courses. So we have 4 maths, 4 sciences, 4 language arts, a couple of health and PEs, which are very popular. And actually, you're actually doing fitness. It's not the clicking of the mouse, that is the fitness. And they're actually really challenging. Economics and personal finance, a very popular online course because we do a lot of our finance online. So it's an easy course to do in the online format. We have world languages. I got a question last session. What class would you recommend that may be overlooked that's very successful? The language courses. Because a lot of students, and I remember taking Spanish in school, I didn't want to speak in front of the class. We have so much audio and video technology in our courses now where they're speaking individually with the teacher to practice their Spanish, and that's very, very popular with students. And I have to say our Latin teacher is amazing. So I have a rising freshman, my oldest, is going to take his first virtual high school course, and I'm going to put him in Latin 1 because he didn't get a language this year. So I'll get to see this from a parent perspective, which is going to be very beneficial for me as well. So we do have our listing of courses there. These are our session schedules. That's important because that's where you're going to see the dates, and we already have our summer session schedule posted. You can see all the dates for when students need to be at orientation, exams, and so forth. And then here is really what I want to show you, our course catalog. If you want to explore our courses, come here. You can see each one of them in detail, and if you go to a course, you're going to see a video syllabus, basically the teacher giving an overview. This is what you're going to learn, the types of assignments I'm going to give, what my expectations are. There's also a timeline and the teacher's email. If you want to reach out to a course teacher and say, hey, I have some questions, that's where you're going to want to find their email. Okay, questions? Yes, ma'am.
What is the tuition?
Oh, yes, I meant to show that on the website. Let me go back. So the tuition for most of the courses is $450. If you go here, about VHS and tuition information. We are not a funded program. Like I said, most students are taking our courses as an 8th or 9th course, so it's not part of their regularly funded day. And so the student tuition goes to pay the teacher and pay for the resources that are used to instruct the kids. So health and PE has a little bit of a different structure. You pay $375 and then you pay usually an additional $100 for the driver's ed piece because that's a requirement in health and PE too. Right now, we only accept money order and cashier's checks, but we're hopeful to have online payments soon.
Can you do that one with the driver's ed during the summer?
Yes, yes. Health and PE is very popular during the summer. In fact, that usually fills up, and we have to close the sections.
So you can take that. They have to be at least 15. Mine will be like this coming, so he's a 9.
As long as they're enrolled in the course and they're close within a few months, it's fine. This is not behind the wheel. It has nothing to do with when you allow them to get their license. This is the bookwork of driver's ed. Okay, so it's just the classroom portion, basically, and we offer it in person. In the summer, it's on Saturdays, or there's a program called Vedettes where the kids can do it online. Okay. So the health and PE courses are a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle because you've got your health, which is online, the fitness, which you go to a fitness facility, or there's lots of options. You can go hike in the battlefield and get the park ranger to sign off. You can go bowling as a family. But they have fitness logs that they have to get signed off on, and they have to do a variety of activities. They can't just go walk the dog around the neighborhood and have the parents sign off on it. But you know, there is some flexibility. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a gym membership. We help you find ways to meet the fitness goals. And we've had a lot of good feedback on the health and PE because families tend to then want to exercise together or go to the gym together or go do something together, which is nice. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Good question. So for rising freshmen, I get so many parents when their kids are juniors saying, I wish I had known about this when they were starting high school. The summer before their 9th grade year is typically when you're going to take a course. In the spring, you can, if it's a language course that they need or want, sometimes a math course if a child is accelerated in math. But that does require special approval from the counselor in the math department because they want to make sure they're taking the right version. They may need a pre-AP math course instead of a basic math course. But typically that summer before freshman year, they can get a course. to open up an area in their schedule, because with the health and PE, they don't have room necessarily to take IT and band, for example, or some other elective that they want to take.
And when is usually the registration period?
Okay, yeah. So registration right now is open for spring, and spring starts February 1st. Registration for summer will open in April, and it will remain open through June. In summer, there are courses that fill up in summer. Health and PE almost always fills up, so I would recommend registering early if you want to take that course. Although we do add sections every summer to try and accommodate as many students as we can. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So if you have homeschool students or students who are partially enrolled
Yes.
in the school, if they take 2 classes in the physical school but aren't fully enrolled in the school, then you pay the $5.95?
No. If you're a Prince William County resident, you're going to pay the in-county tuition. I'm glad you asked that question, though, because there is an option. We do have students who are VHS only. They're typically seniors who just need a couple of credits. They're not even attending regular school. They're only taking classes with us, and then they still graduate through their base school. Homeschool students, we have some of those who come and take classes with us. They just need to, again, enroll in the school and say, I'm not going to be attending, I'm just taking virtual classes. We are working toward a full-time option. We hope to pilot it this fall 2017. Again, that's not for every child, but there are children, I get calls every week, who want to do full-time, or their parents want them to do full-time.
This is the end of session 2.
So please go explore on the website. There's a lot of information there.